In the very opening scene of my Silver Souls book, I had seen basically I had some plan, but I was mostly pantsing, at least with first chapter, and I had some things in my head, and I wrote this one in there just to be there, just to have some way to kickstart story. I didn't want to open necessarily with main character, but rather someone meeting with main character. And I did something that I only after finishing book today, in fact, I realized could be extremely important theme that could take you through your entire story. It could add caveat to everything that's happening, weight to everything that's happening. It could even justify characters' behaviors that might be otherwise considered irrational or even out of the character. And what it is, I open the story with refugees trying to run away from enemy forces that were trying to keep them on one spot so they cannot help rebels. And thing is, those refugees, those civilians, they lived in the new world. There were rebels, there were civilians. Sorry, there was rebels, there were imperials. But there were also most people in this area were just civilians who consider themselves neutral, literally waiting to see who will win, not because they're cowards, but because they want to live. And that could add so much from both sides. Now, cheap way would be to say that the rebels protect civilians and bad guys are killing them. And imagine in first draft it was kind of like that. But what it could show is that you could take down the peg both sides. You could have scenes which, by the way, I'm from Slovakia, and Slovak national uprising basically where our army rebelled against government that was allied with Nazis, basically anti-fascist uprising. It's one of the, if not the greatest moment in our history, but it also wasn't black and white. They were after the war during communism. Only legal version was that rebels were heroes and everyone who didn't help them was working with Nazis. But there were also, and I have stories from my family. My grandfather and great grandfather would told me that basically way they would recognize it is that people who actually fought would sit down in corner and didn't talk because they were trying to cope of what they just went through. Meantime, people who didn't even see battle, they would just take submachine gun or rifle from that German and they would start telling everyone what the heroes they are. And what I would love to explore in next draft, and if you want to make your story a bit darker, and not necessarily grim dark, but again add little weight, you could have situation where there could be people on good side, in this case rebel, who not necessarily moral people. Main character is mercenary working for one of the lords, or barons, sorry, one of the barons, one of the provinces of this rebellion. Effectively, if one of the states of American War of Independence hired European mercenaries, that's who main character of this book would be. Thing is, there could be easily situation, and just like I'm saying it, I see many possibilities where maybe they turn around and find out that just recruiters they took on site are hitting villages and they stealing and they raping and they killing people and they saying that it's for rebellion and characters having to deal with it and put them down, and now you have double-sided sword where we are fighting this impossible rebellion and we have to find our own people and we need every man. We are outnumbered 5 to 1, and yet we kill those people. We hang them, those criminals. But if we don't hang them, if we hang them, we lose even more people if they leave. But if we don't hang them, everyone will think that rebellion is employing people who are killers and rapists. And meantime, you can have situation where imperials, literally imperialistic fascist government is like, you know what? We want to rule this place, and we cannot rule this place if people are hungry and unsafe. So we can have situation where tyrannical government is actually bringing up safety and stopping those criminals, and then all sides. Maybe there's someone on bad guy side who's like, you know what, I hate our evil emperor, but at least he helps me protect people. And meantime, you could have someone on rebellion who's like, I want to overthrow imperial government, but God, I fucking hate when every other guy in rebel army is just piece of shit. And you have endless opportunities to create conflict. And as we know by this time, conflict means that story is happening. Conflict means that audience is paying attention, because again, characters through first time I read book on writing, it was How to Damn Good Novel, and there was writing in one sentence. Characters through conflict reach conclusion. 3 C's. Remember it, you won't regret it, and think about this idea. If you found this tip in any way useful, it would be a really great help if you subscribe and share this. I want to grow the channel and hopefully help all of us. Thank you so much. Stay awesome.